Well, it's great to see everybody today. This is January the 9th, 2023. We're starting out a new year, and it's great to have everybody on the show today. I'm excited. I want to talk to you a little bit about whether you think highly successful people set goals or not. You think highly successful people have any goals in mind that they want to accomplish? Jerry, how about you?
I just laughed out loud about that. So yeah, I think it's fundamental. And I do think that, I'm learning this year, having done my goals recently with your support, I learned that, if I can reflect more deeply and have goals spring out of, I just read this morning in Jesus Calling, the statement that says, anything that is aligned with my plan, God is speaking. Anything Jesus is speaking, anything that is aligned with my plan, there's nothing in the way. You can go get it. Just go do it. So that's where I'm coming from for this year, is to try to let my goals spring from within a little bit and become very clear about them. And then just to realize, no matter how difficult or how challenging it may be, God is with me, God is in me, God is through me, and I can go get it. So it's pretty exciting for me. Thank you, Joseph.
Oh, that's great. That's great, Jerry. And it's a pleasure to see you today, and Happy New Year to you. Anybody else? Anybody else want to share?
I feel that the main people who do set goals are the highly successful people. I think as we look ahead, I know in our life, in our business, at the beginning of the year, or the beginning of a new year in our company, we always—
I think we lost Tracy. She froze up there a minute. She's down in Mexico. So anyway, we'll come back to her.
Joseph, I was hearing her clearly, by the way.
Yeah, so was I.
Okay.
Too.
Yeah. Well, I think, the way I feel about it, I mean, number one, when Christ is in our lives and we set goals, and like Jerry said, and we make him first. And I was just, chatting with Joseph last week, and I think that's, for me, that is one of the most important things, is set him first. But I also know that highly successful people are goal setters. I know in our own company, when it comes to year end, we set goals for the new year. And, I think that all of us, even our personal lives, our spiritual lives, we need goals set and written down so we can look back and pray over them and be accountable ourselves for them. So thank you.
That's excellent, Tracy. Let me tell you, that's really nice. Let me tell you, I want to give you a couple things I want you to write down. When you plan, when you set your goals for yourself, you plan to live your life your way. How many people have not lived their life their way before? It's been terrible, hasn't it? I mean, I'm guilty of that. I mean, people pleasing. And so many times when people set goals, they start out in the new year, and for instance, they're going to go to the gym every day, and they join the gym. I have a friend that owns a gym, and he says, you wouldn't believe the people that join on January and we don't see them in February. So, isn't that amazing? I think that's human nature. But when you train yourself to be better than that, when you push yourself to have priorities and to have goals that you want to accomplish, and when you review those on a weekly basis, I got to tell you, I'm guilty of doing mine on a daily basis. But when you review your goals on a weekly basis, then you can attack your plan and you can adjust your plan. But if you're never reviewing them, if you write them down, they don't mean anything if you're never holding yourself accountable. And so when I started my first company, I was in the transportation business, and immediately, now here's
Is he frozen for everyone else?
Yes, he is.
Yes,
Yes, he is.
Having trouble today with his internet.
Supposed to be that South Carolina internet.
You were frozen, Joseph.
Oh, there you go. Great idea, Jerry.
Period. Yeah, I'm texting him.
Good deal.
Oh, Rachel's the host.
Well, then
I'll
it
take
looks like
over,
he's rebooting himself. I am now the
That's right.
host. I mean, I suppose we can just go ahead and continue to talk about goal setting until Joseph gets back on. What Tracy was saying is very important, and how he was following up as well, just to be able to set those goals. If highly I can't say it, you guys, successful person sets their goals and continues to look at them, what do you think they do when they're kind of looking at the milestones they're getting to towards their goals? Do you think, let's talk about that.
Mm.
Sounds great. Yeah, I always say I'll work like it depends upon me and pray like it depends upon God. You know, so I want to say my prayers and what I want, my personal relationship, and then I want to map out a plan on how I'm going to get there myself. So you gotta work it from both ends of the spectrum.
Mhm.
Well, and a good thing to do while you're looking at those milestones to hit your goal is that's the time where you're going to take your turns, depending on where you're at compared to where you want to be. For instance, I am launching a new personal development coaching business, hopefully this week. My goal is to have it launched by the 15th. So as I've been preparing it with the marketing company I'm taking different turns and twists to make sure that everything is on track and ready to go. You have to do that in order to meet your goals. So the goal that would be designed for January 15th is to have it launched and ready to go. So hopefully I'm exceeding my goal by getting it launched by Wednesday. What is Wednesday, the 11th? Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm saying. So as we're getting towards our goals, if you're seeing that you're not hitting that goal, what is it that you tend to do to take a 90-degree turn or a 180, whatever it is you need to do to get to that goal? What are some of the different things that all of you do?
I'd like to hear from John Bass.
David?
oh, okay. Well, I'm for the-
David Bass, I changed your name, sorry.
Hey, I
about
start saying John? No. Okay, hello, good morning, everyone. Good.
Yes, like David, do you have a brother? Yeah, right.
Anyway, I'm some of you know me, I'm kind of an analytical guy, analysis. I remember numbers a lot, and I believe I read and studied through the years that about 1% of the people write their goals down all the time in their own handwriting. Now, so I put it on my pad, or I put it in an email, or but if you write it down all the time, you're in that 1%. Now, 2 or 3% write the goals down part of the time. I have to admit, I'm in that category. I don't have them all written out, but write them down and read them out loud daily, every morning. Look at your goals and look at what. And sometimes you have to readjust your goals. Like I think Rachel was saying, she had a target date of January 15th. It might go January 11th, but sometimes just factors happen. And for example, I'm in one business where I had some pretty lofty goals set, and yet the company we're attached to is having some challenges in their growth. So sometimes part of a project we're doing might be affected by the company we're attached to. So, but again, you have to readjust those goals for that particular business venture or whatever you might be doing. It's but Joseph Land, what I was saying is I think 1% write that goes down all the time, and 2 or 3% write the goals down, part of them in their own handwriting, and read them out loud every single day, maybe morning and night. Read them out loud and just kind of implant it in your mind. And really, it's like that goes back to law of attraction. You start attracting what you're believing and feeling, you know.
Right. That's right. Thank you, David. And thank you, guys. My computer froze up and I had to get out and come back. But anyway, what I was trying to say to you guys is, you plan to live your life your way when you set goals and you're trying to create a business. And one of the things that I want you to know is, once you realize what your worth is, you will never, let's see how I want to say this. You'll never be embarrassed by the stuff you once settled for. And that's something. And so why do you set goals? I mean, why would I set goals? Why would I want to be better than how I grew up? My sister and I, we had parents that my father worked in the mill, and he did the best he could do at his time and what he knew how to do. But guess what? My sister and I wanted to be better than that. We didn't want to work in the mill. We wanted to do something better. And so what did we do? We set goals. She was the valedictorian of her class. She went on to have a master's degree in guidance and counseling. So she had a very nice professional path. I went the business path, and so I wanted to do things in my life. And so we both set goals and we accomplished our goals. And we're continuing to accomplish our goals even, as we speak. But so I was telling you guys about taking a Dale Carnegie course, realizing that I wasn't in the transportation business, that I was really in the people business. And so Dale Carnegie says that there's 7 steps to effective goal setting. He said, number 1, he says you pinpoint what is most important in your life that you want to accomplish. To me, it was, I was tired of being so broke we couldn't pay attention. I wanted to do something better for my family, right? And so that was my first important thing that I wanted to do. I wanted to do something on my own. The second thing is I wanted to set a goal. He says you set your goals and you write it down. Now I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you guys an insight to who I am and how I do things, because I'm not going to tell you to do something that I'm not doing myself. I don't want to be one of those kind of people. I want to show you on this screen today my goals. All right. And so I can encourage you to do something similar that will propel you to be great in what you purpose to do. And then as you go, you identify your obstacles. That's the third thing. I want to be in the transportation business. What are the obstacles? Well, I need customers. I need trucks. I need financing. I had a lot of obstacles in my way that I had to overcome. So I identified them. And then the fourth thing I did is I made a plan to overcome them, to get through them. And then the fifth thing I did is I set a timeline of when I wanted to accomplish those things. A lot of people set a goal, I'm going to be a millionaire, and then they do nothing and they have nothing. So you have to make a timeline. And then the sixth thing is you commit and you block off time to accomplish your goals. And then the seventh thing, excuse me, I got a frog in my throat today. And then the seventh thing is you have an accountability partner. My accountability partner is my wife. When I made my goals for this year, I gave her a copy. Okay. And so what we like to do is we like to talk about our goals, like on a Sunday night, or, when we get ready to start a new week, something of that nature. And so, but you got to have goals, and you got to be accountable to them. And you have to, you have to have an accountability partner. And I was talking to someone about goals, and they said, well, I think intentions. Yeah. They said intentions are very important. Yeah. If your intentions are to accomplish your goals, yeah, they're very important. But there's intent, and then there's planning. And in a business, if you don't plan, then somebody else will plan for you eventually, right? And it's like, it's like when I was starting out, I didn't have enough money to get by. And so what I would do is I would take a fishbowl and I would write down everybody that I owed, how much I owed them in the fishbowl, and I'd drop their name in the fishbowl. And so when I got a little bit of money and I started to pay my bills for that month, I'd reach in the fishbowl and pull out a name and I'd write a check. And I reach in the fishbowl, write another check. I reach in the fishbowl, pull out a name, write another check. And when I ran out of money, I would quit writing checks. And so one day this customer called me that I owed money to. They said, well, you haven't paid your bill. And I said, I got a perfect explanation for that. They said, what is it? I said, I didn't draw your name out of the fishbowl yet. Well, they didn't like that too much, and that's a little bit of a funny story about planning. If you don't plan, you won't have enough money. You'll be reaching in the fishbowl all the time, trying to pay your bills, and it never works. And I wanted to share that with you, but I want to show you my goals. Would you guys like to see my goals today? Okay. All right. Let's see if I can share my screen with you, and we'll go into my goals. And I want you to tell me when you can see my screen. All right. So here we go. Can you see my screen now?
No,
Can you see my screen?
no.
Okay, hold on. All right, hold on just 1 second. I'm gonna get it where you can see it. All right, here we go. Can you see it now? Can everybody see it?
Yes.
Shake your head if you can see it. All right. So here are my personal goals for 2023. And I want to go slow with this because you might want to take this format and use it for yourself. But I categorize my goals as spiritual, physical and personal, family, work, and then being a blessing to mankind.
What's that, Mama? I'm gonna wait till I'm done here, and I'm probably gonna do a few things probably
And you,
within an hour and a half.
excuse me.
Oh, Hunter, I forgot about Hunter.
Can you mute yourself?
Um,
Hold on just a
I'm-
minute. Let me mute him. He always does this. Hold on just 1 second, please.
Sorry about that.
All right. Okay, back with you. So does that make sense to you guys that you would categorize your goals? Okay, and so here's in the first example, my spiritual goals is I want to put Jesus first in all things in my life. That comes first. I want to do my devotional and quiet time every morning with no phone. So I don't want to be distracted. I've tried it with the phone and it doesn't work for me, right? I want to pray over my prayer list daily. So all you guys that join my show, we put you on a prayer list and we pray for you and your family and your business. I want to beware of false prophets, people who are trying to lure me to do something that I know is not right. I want to increase my bold witness for Christ internationally through the platform of my business. I want to use my business to encourage and bless others and lead them to Jesus by my life example. All right, that's my spiritual goals for 2023. Now let's go to the physical part. Can you guys see my screen? Okay, physical part and personal. I want to rise every morning between 5:30 a.m. and 6 a.m. I want to get 7 hours of measured sleep nightly. What I've realized is that when I don't get enough sleep, I'm emotional and I don't perform well. All right. So I'm going to give you the reason that I'm doing this. I want to eat a very strict diet, mostly Mediterranean. Jennifer and I right now on a vegan diet. And I want to do that to maximize my health and live as long as I can, to bless as many people as I can, and also my family. I want to eat clean, primarily vegan, juice, cleanse, protein shakes daily. And I'm going to remake my body in 2023. And I want you to hold me accountable because I'm going to lose 30 pounds. I'm going to get really lean, really lean. I want to stay away from the urge to snack. If I'm hungry, I want to eat something that's good for me, like veggies, veggies and hummus. Fast from 8 p.m. at night till 11 a.m. every day. That's called intermittent fasting. That really works for me. I drink 100 ounces of good water daily. I've had 45 ounces of water already today. And I was afraid to drink any more because I didn't want to run to the bathroom during the show. And then I want to drink some black coffee and tea. Weight train 4 times weekly, abs and 100 abs each session, cardio daily, minimum 30 minutes, walk, bike, elliptical, trampoline, 100 push-ups every day before going to bed, and 100 abs before going to bed. Get some downtime without distractions on Sunday. Read 3 books per month, plus business periodicals. And I'm going to do that using an app called Blinkist. Blinkist. It gives you a capsulized version of the books you want to read. And a lot of CEOs are using that now. And then I want to start writing my book number 2. So those are my physical and personal goals. That makes sense to you guys? Can somebody shake their head? All right. All right. Then family is I want to pray for my daughters and grandchildren and our great relationship. Do something special with my daughters this year. Be a godly influence to all of our children, Jennifer's children, my children, our grandchildren. Date night with my wife weekly. Never take her for granted because life is short. Quarterly weekend retreats with my wife that I enjoy looking forward to. We've been to a couple places here recently. Take my wife somewhere special, just the 2 of us. Finish the reservation on our house. And so that's the things I want to do for my family. All right, so work. I ask myself every day, what does winning look like for me today? You ever ask yourself that? What does winning look like for you today? How do I prepare my business so that it prospers when I'm not here? What kind of legacy do I leave behind? How do I prepare my business that way? I need to listen very intently to what others are saying to me, but also be guarded because God might be speaking to me through someone else's idea. Build JL Capital to a large entity, funding international finance, branding, mentoring, and teaching people what I know. Diversification of income, and pray for wisdom in my investments and what God is leading me to do next. Pray to make key investments that have significant returns monthly. And here's the key: stay humble, stay under the radar with my business, and allow God only to promote me. I don't need man to promote me. I want God to promote me. Be humble enough to learn from others and teach others what I've learned. And again, leave a legacy for future generations built on trust. All right. And then the last thing is being a blessing to mankind. I want to tithe on my income and then give above that. I want to organize a project to help the poor, and we're working on that presently. Spend less and give more. Give amounts where led by God. Teach people what Christ has taught me about business, life, and having a heart for Him and the poor. So those are my goals for the year. Does Does that kind of help you guys characterize goals? Let's open this up for some discussion now. So anybody comment on their goal setting for the year, or what you're thinking? How God might be leading you to do things differently?
I think you had a great set of goals.
Thank you, Doug.
Everything but the vegan thing.
Good,
I'm in on that.
good.
I
All
got
right.
a
was
funny
awesome.
story
It really-
about that vegan thing, okay? So I'm a vegan.
I
And I've been
know.
a vegan for years, and I moved back to Wisconsin, and my family looks right at me and says, "You're in Wisconsin. What do you think you're doing?"
Exactly.
But
know what?
vegan is so important because I went back to eating what I used to eat when I lived out here, and my health actually was altered quite a bit, and I'm regaining it again and went back to my veganism. And I'm going to tell you the difference in that is so drastic because you're not getting all of the unhealthy things that are in the foods that we get today in our supermarkets. And, you know, we weren't intended to eat all of that meat in the first place. Our bodies were intended to take on more roughage than meat. So it does a lot of good for you.
Well, I don't want to get off on that tangent with this. I'm just showing you my goals. And here's the takeaway I want from this. You eat what God instructs you to eat, and you do what God instructs you to do, because, you know, grass-fed beef is really good. And some of the things that free-range chicken are really good. But I have decided for this year to really cleanse my body and do some things differently. And that's why I made that a goal. And I want you to realize that we live in a time in society where we have sick care instead of health care. And if you don't take care of yourself, nobody else is. And I was having this discussion with a friend, and I said, you know, how many cars have you had? And they said, gosh, 7, 8, or 9. I said, would you take care of your cars and change the oil and the tires? No, yeah. Wash it? Yeah. I said, well, you only get one body. Would you desire to take care of that the same way? It's the truth, isn't it? And I believe that how we take care of ourselves, not only in our mental state and the way that we protect ourselves, the way we drink good, clean water and eat a good, clean diet, gives us longevity in our health. and that's the takeaway I want you to get from this as you're making your goals for this year. And I hope all of you've made your goals. But one of the things that I want you to realize, and I posted this, is, you know, your family doesn't hold you back. You know, why is it we live in a society where everybody's trying to look for someone else to blame?
Please stop. I'm wide awake and alert.
Your parents don't hold you back. You know, your job doesn't hold you back. You know, your partner doesn't hold you back. Your kids don't hold you back. Your past, whatever you did in your past, that doesn't hold you back. And the only thing that holds you back is you. You know, you hold yourself back. I hold myself back. And when I focus on being the best I can be, and I have something that I can measure my performance today. Listen, I only have the gift of the day. I'm not assured of tomorrow, but today I'm on my system of operating because I have my goals. I have the way I'm doing business. I have the plan of attack that I want to have for the day. I've done my devotional. I've done all of that stuff that we just discussed, and I'm on it today. If God gives me the breath for tomorrow, I'll be on it tomorrow. But I want to be my best version of myself today. And the way I do that is having clearly defined things that I want to accomplish. Does that make sense? That makes sense to you guys? So I wanted you to have that today. Any questions to me about goal setting? Anybody have any questions?
Joseph, I was hoping that you could just run down your list of 7 points. You started with pinpoint the most important things in your life, and you ended up with a accountability partner. I was hoping you could just run that list of 7 real quick.
Okay, so the first one, and this is taken directly from Dale Carnegie, you know, and this is how I kind of look at my goals as I'm setting my goals in those categories. Number 1, I pinpoint what is most important to me. What's most important in your life, right? Well, number one thing is my relationship to Jesus Christ. Number two thing is my relationship to my wife and children. And the number three thing, and this priority, the number three thing is my business. My business comes behind my relationship to my God, my relationship to my wife and children, and my business comes third. If you prioritize it that way, you will see some amazing things happen. So number one, pinpoint what is most important in your life, Jerry. Then two, set your goals, write them down. Write down what it is you want to accomplish. And not to get too complicated here, but I'll take my goals, my business goals, and I'll capsulize them. I'll say, okay, I'm going to do this in January. I'm going to do this in the first quarter. And it really helps me. So set a goal. Number two, set a goal and write it down. Number three, identify the obstacles that you see that might be in your way of achieving what it is you want to achieve. And as I said, for me, it was, financing my business or getting new customers or things of that nature. And then 4, make a plan to overcome those. Make a plan. And let me know if I'm going too fast, Jerry.
I'm fine.
So you make a plan, number 4, to overcome those obstacles. Number 5 is you set a timeline. You set a timeline for when you want to accomplish each one of those goals that you've categorized. So think about this. Why do I set goals? Because someone told me, and Tom Armour one time, that if you aim at nothing, you hit it every time. What you measure will improve. And so if you measure what you're doing, it will definitely improve. If you don't measure it, it won't improve because you don't give a rip, and that's the intention that you set out in the world. And that's the energy that you're projecting. Me, if you're around me, the energy I'm projecting is total success. Lead, follow, get out of the way, I'm gonna run over you. That's what I'm projecting. Okay, so set a timeline is number 5, Jerry. Number 6 is commit and block time to reviewing your goals and speaking into existence what it is you want to accomplish. When I go through my goals, they're in a journal that I have on my desk every day. And so once I'm through with my daily devotionals and my time of prayer, the first thing I do is pull out my goals and say, I go through the 5 categories and I make a few notes to the side and say, if I tweak this a little bit, I'll do better here. It's a constant improvement. It's a life of constantly improving yourself. And so I've actually gotten a little anal with it because I know that's what has propelled my success. And then 6, you commit a block of time. And then 7, have an accountability partner. Pick out someone that you can relate to. With me, it's my wife, because she understands what we're trying to accomplish. Pick out somebody that you can relate to, who has your same vision and who cares for you, and ask them to hold you accountable. The reason that Alcoholics Anonymous has been so successful is they have a 12-step pattern of goals and they have accountability. And so the reason I think that people are successful is they are accountable. Do you think a professional athlete can run the 100 meters and win the Olympics without having to practice or without setting goals or time slots of when they're training and all that? No, and it's no different here. Do you think Elon Musk sets any goals? Do you think people, high caliber, high performing people, are always setting goals, and they're always being accountable to themselves and to others for where they're trying to get? And if you'll do those things, you'll see some amazing things happen. Did everybody get those down? Tony Fightmaster, how about you?
Yes, I got it written down, Joe. And when you were sharing your categories, I noticed that they're very similar to my categories. And I've taken from different sources. One of the guys that I read this last year was Tom Ziegler, Zig's son, and he kind of put things in categories. He likes to put things in a wheel. I would adjust that a little bit and put Jesus right in the middle. But at any rate, I love the idea of the categories and the different areas of our lives. I've been working on that. I'm not totally through my goals yet, though. I've gone through about 3 different categories, and I realized I didn't start planning soon enough. So I'm still working on it.
Well, that's great. And sometimes we fall short. And what do you do when you fall short? You forgive yourself and keep going, right?
Yeah.
It's like, you're the boss of you. And so when I don't perform at the level I want to perform at, I'll just say, I'll take a deep breath and I'll say, wow, I could have probably done better with this, but I didn't give enough effort. I didn't give enough effort to be rewarded the way I wanted to be rewarded. And that's usually always the case with me, because I'm so organized and programmed that sometimes success comes and the effort is less than it has to be. I don't know how to explain it, but when you set yourself up to do what it is you want to do and you do all of your work, sometimes it just comes a little easier than it would before. And Proverbs says that God blesses his people with wealth and he adds no trouble to it. Right. And so before, in my previous life, there was all kind of trouble with everything I was trying to do, because it was all about me. But when you take yourself out of the equation and you want to give the glory to someone else and be a blessing to others, then it seems to get easier for me. Anyway, I'm just speaking of me, and maybe this will resonate with some of you. I never want to point the light at myself. I always want to try to shine the light at other people, because when I do, normally they'll shine the light back on us without us asking them to, right? And so someone once told me that it's amazing how successful you can be when you don't care who gets the credit, right? And in running a big company, 2 big companies that I created with a lot of people working there, it was all about shining the light on the team. It was all about shining the light on the people who were bought into the vision, who were giving their all. And it just made it a very healthy place to work and a very rewarding place to work, because we saw a lot of people get blessed financially and spiritually and every other way. So, I want to share something with you, and and if you want to write some of this down, I'll go slow with it the next go around. But I want to tell you, remember my last category about being a blessing to mankind. And so what Jennifer and I want to do is we want to set aside some of the money that we earn, that God blesses us with each month, so that we can find one individual or several individuals or one group that God is using in a powerful way. And we want to join God's work there. And we want to be a blessing to that people, because again, what was one of my goals? To use my platform of business to be a blessing to others, right? And so there was this pastor who moved to our city, and just a wonderful man. And he became a part of a ministry called Christian Businessmen's Conference. And he was trying to raise support for he and his wife so that they could do ministry. And I don't know if you've ever had this feeling, but just as plain as day, God told Jennifer and me to support this man. And so we started supporting him. And then one day he called me and said, "Can I come by and see you?" I said, "Well, no, I'm in North Carolina, but when I get back to South Carolina, we can meet. How about next week?" So we sat down the next week, and he told me that one of his larger supporters had moved away and was not supporting him anymore in his ministry. And, again, I felt the nudge of the Holy Spirit. I said, "Don't worry, Jennifer and I'll pick up the slack and we'll cover that." Just like that. Didn't even think about it, right? And so over the weekend, just totally out of the blue, he sent me this message. I want you to listen to this. He said, "Every now and then, a person with no agenda, no ulterior motive, and no self-interest will take pleasure in helping you succeed. This person will operate in love, will seek no praise and no reward, and will want nothing in return. This person is a gift." And then he put, "You are God's gift to me, Joseph." And you know what? Money can't buy that. I mean, that is the most beautiful thing anybody has ever said to me, right? And so why do you prioritize your goals? Why do you speak things that you want to accomplish into existence? So God can use your thoughts and your speech and what you've written down to bless people like that man, right? And I'm going to tell every one of you guys, if you'll prioritize, if you will get really focused on what it is you want to accomplish and where God is calling you to be, there'll be many times in your life that someone maybe won't articulate that exactly that way to you, but they will think it and know it because you made a difference in their life. And there's so many people in this world out today that are claiming to do things and not do things. And so just be careful. Just be careful who you listen to. When I hear somebody say something about what they're doing or what they're going to do and this and that, I just kind of wait, because what does it say? You will know people by their fruits. You will know that that what they're telling you is genuine. And so one of my really big goals is to take whatever success that I have and be a blessing to mankind. Because think about it. Have you ever seen a Brinks truck following a hearse to the funeral site? You take nothing with you, right? So why not plan to leave a legacy now for the future generations? And I mean, when I say legacy, by leaving your heart of how you want things done to the next generation and the next generation and the next generation. And so I hope our children will say, "Man, our father really had a heart for God, and we need to continue. We need to continue in that pathway." Because I've seen a lot of success in my life, but I've never seen anything that trumps what God is able to do. Because see, we see things in the natural, and He's working in the supernatural on our behalf. And so right now, I pray that all you have eyes that see what God would want you to set down on your goals, and what He would like to join you in accomplishing. Right? I remember in a recent meeting, we were in a boardroom, and I wouldn't let anybody sit at the head of the table. And there were people sitting around the table that sat in other seats, but I wouldn't let anybody sit at the head of the table. And I didn't tell anybody why. I just wanted God to have that seat, right? And man, I tell you, when you're bold, you get blessed. So that's what I want to be. And I don't care who thinks what. I don't worry about what people think. I used to worry about what people were thinking, and I finally realized to the fact that they're not thinking about me anyway. They're just thinking about themselves, right? And so when you're worried about what somebody's thinking, quit worrying about what they think, because they're just thinking about themselves. So think about what you want to accomplish. Think about what God intends for you to do, and bathe it in prayer and give it to Him. So is this good today? Dawn, how about you up in Long Island, New York? Let's hear from you today.
That was really touching. Everything you said, and the that sentiment that he wrote was, woo. I had to hold back. Yeah, that was beautiful. Writing goals down is something I've never did until I met Rasaji, and I did a column exercise. They're not as pinpointing as what you're putting here with timelines and stuff. I just basically put down what I wanted, and it was about 20 months ago when I was writing down what I wanted for my life with where I was at the time. And one of them, a big one, was to live independently. And I just got an apartment.
Praise God.
I just secured one. And it's the first time I'll be living on my own in my life.
Yeah, it's so wonderful.
And he led me to the most beautiful apartment every time I walk in and I put things in it. The gratitude just, I can't handle it sometimes, and I can't believe how good God is, because it's
Amen.
beautiful. It's beautiful. It's really, I mean, I can't believe the apartment that I just rented, and I'm stepping out in a lot of faith because I signed a lease. I've never did that before. I'm signing a lease this week for the karate studio. And I don't have an income that's coming in, but I do have some money to hold me, but I don't want to use that. So I'm looking, but I'm working towards things, and I'm stepping out in faith.
Good. But you write down, that's one of your goals, to get that passive income coming in.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You put that
Working
down.
on it. I'm definitely
Yeah.
working. Yeah.
And it'll happen. Just start speaking it every day. Start being thankful. I've told you this before, and you know what? I have people tell me, well, you shouldn't talk so much about your faith in your business. And I'm just to the point where I don't give a rip what people think. And so anybody that doesn't like the way I speak about my faith with my business, they don't have to do business with me, right? Because God will supply me the right person to do business with. And that's just where I am. And so I don't ever want to offend anybody, but we're living in a time where if you don't believe in something, you're going to be lost. And I believe that God is trying to bless His people right now. And that's why I do this show, and that's why I do what I do. And I'm like one of those horses ready to run every day when I wake up. And I just want to hold myself accountable so that 2023 can be one of those years that you talk about to your children and your grandchildren. And that's what you need to be thinking. Okay, so we just got through 2022. Okay. So what is going to be remarkable for us in 2023? What are we going to do different to get something even more remarkable than what happened in 2022? Well, we have to set some different goals. We have to change the way we do things. We have to have that intention of thanksgiving and gratefulness that you just heard Dawn talk about. I mean, my wife and I say 4 things every morning when we wake up and 4 things every evening when we go to bed. Lord, we praise you. We thank you for the day. We're so grateful. 3, we're so grateful to be alive in this time in history because you've allowed it. Help us to make a difference for you if it's your will. And number 4, we just trust you with the day. We just trust you with this night while we're sleeping. When you have that heart of grateful, and listen, I confess, I didn't used to always be this way. I used to think it was all me. And what got my attention in the first go around was I thought I was going to be a professional baseball player, and God had a different plan. Torn rotator cuff, and I was devastated. I had plans to buy my mother a house and a new car and all of these things, and boom, it was over. As quickly as it began, it was over. But see, sometimes God is directing you to do something else, and he allowed me to do this transportation business, and I was able to do all those things, right? And so we set another goal, we set another intention, and it's just really cool how it all works.
And can I just add one more thing? Like you, I mean, I always believed in God, and I always prayed, but I never put him first until 20 months.
Yeah. Well, you know, I've had some things really radically change me. And if somebody's not muted, if you could mute out, that would be great. But you know, I've had some we've all had some radical things in our life that have taught us and showed us what to do. And I guarantee you I could go through everybody on this call and everybody who listens to the recording and say that there have been some amazing radical things that have happened in your life that have caused you to be a different person and to cause you to realize it's not about you, that the blessing of this day is the breath that we're speaking with right now, right? And we're not assured of tomorrow, but I'm going to tell you, if I get tomorrow, I'm going to be the best I can be tomorrow, right? And that should be all of our attitudes. And, you know, I've never heard anybody say, gosh, I can't wait until tomorrow. I just want to be as terrible as I can be tomorrow. You know, have you ever heard anybody say that? No. And so how can we, the best we can be is by being methodical with how we approach tomorrow, right? Being methodical. And so anyway, I maybe have shared too much with you guys today, but you know, my heart is just to bless people. My heart is just to teach people how I failed miserably in a lot of ways and how God has forgiven me and restored me to be the man that I am. And you know, there's just some great things ahead, but if the Lord takes me home tomorrow, then I hope you'll remember some of the things that I've shared with you. So I want to read to you one more time. I want to read this to you one more time. Somebody's going to tell you this. Every now and then, now think about this. Every now and then, I've had this happen to me. This is why this touched me so much. Every now and then, a person with no agenda, no ulterior motive, and no self-interest will take pleasure in helping you succeed. This person will operate in love, will seek no praise, and will want nothing in return. This person is the gift from God. Isn't that the coolest thing?
Not only is that the coolest thing, I think that's the template for the new humanity or our opportunity to live that way. What a
Yeah.
great, that is the
Yeah.
goal. So
Yeah, I have people that call me and want my opinion of things. And of course, you know, I mentor 8 people and I work with them pretty much on a daily basis because I'm seeing great things happen with that. But, you know, people call me out of the blue and I stop and take my time to make sure I help them and deal with them, because who knows, they might be the next Elon Musk. Who knows? You know, it's kind of like somebody said, you know, the little child you're raising might be the president of the United States. I'm thinking, I hope not. But anyway, you know, you never know. And so what is your gift? Your gift is to pour into that person or you're able to pour in. And with no, you know, I'm not looking for anything back. So pretty cool, isn't it? Tony Fightmaster, why don't you share a few things and then we'll close out.
You bet. Joe, you were sharing that your friend, the person that the minister shared with you, and I just had that conversation with my one of my sons the other day. You know, we've been involved in some businesses, and of course, you know, I've called a lot of people, contacted a lot of people about this or about that, and I've had some switches flipped inside of me over the last several years. And not that I'm not involved in reaching out to people with mission and purpose. But I was sharing with my son, whenever God brings an opportunity to me to help somebody, you know, irregardless of whether it ever turns around and helps me, that's become something I'm really walking into. If I have the ability, I want to give without expecting anything in return. I want to bless, just want to be a blessing, and just totally free my mind of the other side of it. And I believe God honors that. I believe that he continues to honor it. You know, you've shared so much great information today, and so much good stuff. And I've got 2 pages of notes written down here, you know, from today, just listening. One of the things that you just mentioned there was talking to your children and your grandchildren. And that's become something that's been impressed on me, to find ways to communicate the essence of this abundant life that we live in and share with others. Find ways to communicate that with my boys and my grandchildren and my daughters-in-law. And so I'm really leaning into that right now. I'm really leaning into the Holy Spirit, listening to whatever he brings to my mind. And of course, I ask that question now: is this me or is this the Holy Spirit? And so, but I'm realizing more and more that when thoughts and impressions come to me, it is the Lord,
That's
and
right.
I'm walking into that.
That's exactly right. I want to tell y'all one more funny story, because people learn by stories. And the energy you put out, people pick up on. Would you agree with that? And
Yeah.
so Jennifer and I have 5 grandchildren. We have 4 granddaughters and 1 little grandson. And so our oldest granddaughter, when she was little, my daughter looked at me and pointed at me and said, "Who is that?" And she said, "Ball." She said, "What did you say?" She said, "Boss, boss." So my grandchildren don't call me grandpa or granddad; they call me boss. And because they feel that when they're around me, I'm going to take care of business, you know, I want to take care of things. And my oldest daughter gets a little upset with me, because when Jennifer and I, they call Jennifer Jin Jin. When Jin Jin and I are around and they need something and Mama says no, I always say yes, you know. So they said he's the boss, you know. I'm going to talk to him. Isn't that funny? So it's just another example of what you put out, people pick up on. And so put out positive, put out the best, be your best at all times. So y'all hold on just a minute. Tony, I want to talk to you just a minute. But thank you everyone for joining me today. This is a Joseph Land show on January the 9th, 2023. And we talked about goal setting and setting your intention today.